Guys, it's Grace Gothic. I wanted to do a video on commitment phobia, and I just wanted to get into a few of the issues that typically surround this topic. Now, I don't really believe that commitment phobia exists anymore. I think that it's something that the term was coined back in the late 80s, trying to put trying to assess a reason why men would not commit to women, as if it was this sort of irrational fear, like the boogeyman or something like that. Well, if we look at society today, mainstream society, that is, there's a lot of good reasons why male or female won't commit. As far as men, you have a lot of divorce rates, high divorce rates, a great deal of money to get out of. You have alimony, you have caring for children. You may not be making as much of an income as you used to make before. And the relationship is even a separate issue. You may have not been ready to commit in that relationship. You may have committed to that relationship under false pretenses. You may have gone into that relationship under false pretenses. And all of these issues really do make a difference in how your relationship is going to turn out and how you're going to feel about your relationship. So today we still see people in relationships who are pushing their partners to commit, and it's no longer an irrational fear. There's a lot of things going on in society today, and people aren't very honest about who they are and what they want. And I think it's not so much as it's not so much because people are pathological liars. I think to a degree you can count some of that, but I really think that people are having a hard time adapting and staying pace with the changes of the world. And we do live in a different world than we lived in 10 years ago. So people are having a hard time adapting their identity or changing and improving their identity to keep in step with the time that we live in. And so you have people who may internally feel like a brand new person and want to try brand new things. However, their surroundings and their environment keeps them trapped in the old person, in the old them, in the identity that they always had, that they're really trying to shed, if you understand what I'm saying. So you have issues where people are not, by default, they're not living their truth, so to speak. So this creates a lot of fear in their relationships. They don't know if their relationship is going to work out simply because they're not really working out with themselves. If you find yourself coming to a place where you like the person, but you really don't want to go very deep with them, that's probably your intuition. Yes, men have it too, just like women do. But that's probably your intuition just kind of telling you that this isn't the right thing to do. It's not that you don't love the person or that the person is wrong for you. They just may not be right for you at this time. Or it may be that you should only go so far with them at this particular point in time. Because we all know when we're getting something that we want. We all know how we feel when something goes the way that we want it to go, or something happens, or we achieve a goal that we've wanted to achieve. We don't get fear over it. We don't have a phobia. We don't want to take a step back. We want to take a step towards it. Therefore, the same thing can apply in relationships. If we're not taking a step towards it, and the relationship should be organic. It should be an organic experience. It should be an organic feeling, something that's very natural, something that chemistry and energy just takes over. And if we don't have that feeling in a relationship, it's just because it's just not the right move for us to make. It's not the right situation for us to be in. And commitment phobia, I remember this term, really being seen as something derogatory. If you didn't want to commit to, to a person, oh, that was a bad thing. But then, then you'll have a person who is spooked and bullied into getting into a relationship, and the relationship goes bust, a few years later, and now they're having a divorce, and he's got so much more, he or she has so much more baggage than they had going into the relationship. And now they can never be clean again. They can never have a clean slate again because now they have children. Now they have shared bills. Now they have a divorce lawyer. Maybe something has happened in that relationship and now they have to have therapy for it. So financially, they can't get out of it. Emotionally, they can't get out of it. They got into a relationship that they really didn't want to get into, and now they can never leave it for the rest of their lives. And then they can try it. You can try and look at it and say, oh, well, I got such and such was a good thing that came out of the relationship. Yeah, but maybe that was never supposed to be. Maybe you were never supposed to get anything out of that relationship of what it was temporarily. you know Maybe things just weren't supposed to go that far, and that's okay. Every relationship that we have with a person is has an assigned distance. Maybe all relationships we get into are not supposed to end in marriage. I mean, it's okay. uh, Human relationships are so complex, and how we fit with each other is so complex that we can't assume that every meeting with a person should end in some sort of relationship or sex or any sort of thing. Sometimes it's just meant to be a brief meeting and that's it. And having what some people say fear, I actually think it's just intuition, or it's just ESP trying to tell us, hey, you're about to make a mistake. Because you never really truly know everything there is to know about a person that you're dealing with anyway, no matter if you marry them. And that's another thing that we all have to come to accept. We will never know everything about anyone, really. The person we marry, the person we date, you just don't know, because we don't divulge, as humans, we don't divulge every single part of our lives, every single detail. We don't do that. You know, we typically divulge things that we feel the other person needs to know about us. So we're never going to have a whole picture about a person to even really solidly know that we should be involved with them in a relationship or in any other type of situation. But we go in and we hope for the best. The best thing to do is to go in armed with as much positive, as much information as possible, be it positive and negative. But get as much information. Information is the key, because it tells you what you can and cannot tolerate. It lets you know what you're going into. But most of the time, we get in relationships and we don't even know who we're getting in relationships with. We don't know who we're sleeping with. We don't know if this person is our enemy, if they are our supporter, if they're our friend. And as we know, that ends up to be a problem. And a lot of times that can be detrimental for our entire lives. So this video is really just about kind of debunking this whole idea of phobia and fear of commitments. There's no such thing. What it is our intuition letting us know that there's some red flags somewhere that we see or we don't see, and we need to take heed of them. If you like this video, comment and subscribe. Let me know your situations. I'm pretty much always trying to check my comments, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks.